Hi, it's Mark from TLR. I'm here with Bernie Pollock, Pollock Automotive in Vancouver, Vancouver's best auto service experience, 23-time winners of best auto repair in Vancouver, as voted by their customers. We're talking cars. How you doing, Bernie?
Doing well.
So 2014 Acura RDX is today's victim. What was going on with this vehicle?
This vehicle came to our shop for a maintenance service. It was due for a B service. So that's exactly what we did.
So what's involved in a B service?
So B service is an oil and filter change plus a full vehicle front to back inspection, wheels off, tire rotation if needed and doable, which it is on this vehicle. It's only not doable if you have a vehicle with different size tires front and rear. So that's basically it. We do a full inspection, one of our awesome digital comprehensive inspections, and the oil service. And we can get straight into pictures right now because we can actually go over some of the details of our service because it's pretty awesome. So there's the RDX, very practical little compact SUV, I think, and very reliable also. There's our V6 motor, peppy and powerful also, which is a good feature to have. The earlier versions of this had a 4-cylinder turbo, which actually worked really well too, but I kind of like this V6 engine a little better. So the inspection. So we have a digital inspection that we do and breaks everything down. So this is what you would get as a client of ours. This is the inspection that you would see that we either send you a link by text or by email. Lists 94 items are okay. 10 items of suggested services, which are, things that kind of need to be done, but could be done at a later time. And then 2 items that should be done right now. And one is a third brake light, which is a bulb. Well, probably a bulb. And then the other we found when we tested the alternator that there was a low output and a blown diode. So this view is a little small right here. I should have got a blow up picture of it, but this is actually a view of our test screen. It actually indicates right from the tester that the diode's blown. We send really good information out with these inspections. So we drill down a little further. We can look at a couple of the suggested items. So there's the service due light was on, which we've reset. The wiper blades are smudgy. The transmission fluid was due by mileage. Again, we like to look at vehicle history, but the technician recommended check the vehicle history. Sure enough, it was actually in fact due. Does that make it a red? Well, it's not really mission critical to do it, but it's kind of important to deal with it. A couple of the other orange items, the sway bar links had some slight play in the rear. There's a photograph again, which we include, and these can be clicked on to enlarge so you can look at them a little closely. And then there was a very slight oil leak from the engine or transmission area. So again, we recommended a diagnostic on that. It wasn't severe, but just something to keep in mind. And then some of the good items. And these are things that we also do. So we measure the brake pads. There are numbers here, 7 millimeters in the front brakes. We measure the brake rotors, inspect the calipers and other brake components. On the rear, there's 5 millimeters. There's a measurement for the rotors. Tires, we measure the tires, adjust the pressure. So these are all noted, and this is everything you get on the inspection. Those are our picture show for the day.
So is there any problem with driving a car with a bad alternator?
Well, yeah. So, of course, how the procedure goes is we present the inspection to the client and estimate out the major items and maintenance items. And from there, they'll make a decision. Now, the owner decided, you know what, I don't want to fix the alternator. It is pretty expensive to repair in this vehicle. It wasn't that it wasn't functioning. It's just that it wasn't functioning properly. So the answer is yes, it should have been done. And I'll say that I think he should have done it, but it's not my money to spend. Their logic was, you know what, if the battery goes dead, we'll just tow it in. So that is one thing that happens. If the alternator is severely bad, of course, your battery won't charge it. You won't get far. But with a blown diode, you're kind of getting 2/3 of the amount of output. The risky thing is it can send strange voltage spikes through your vehicle. And sometimes the engine will either not run properly, like it'll kind of run funny, or lights might flicker or something. None of that was happening on this vehicle. So it wasn't a big issue in that case. But nonetheless, it's something that should have been done. However, they did choose to do some of the maintenance items. The brake fluid, we'd recommended flushing. They fixed the bulb, of course, which was good and inexpensive. And we did the transmission service, which was due also.
So this vehicle's got 96,000 kilometers?
Yeah. Yep.
Isn't this a major service interval on many vehicles?
Well, yeah, and especially for Japanese vehicles, 96,000 kilometers used to be the major service interval where you do the timing belt and spark plugs. These were the things that were kind of due. Usually transmission service. Sometimes, again, we're going back a couple of decades where the CV boots, usually the material they were made of, they were starting to crack, and it was a good idea to replace the outer CV boots. So it ended up being a pretty major service and, pretty costly. But, once you get it done, of course, then you're good for another 96,000 Ks. This vehicle, not the same. Honda's gone with they have the maintenance reminder that comes on the dash and reminds you when you're due for service. And I have to say that I really like their system. I find that Honda, when their maintenance reminder comes on telling you your oil needs to be changed, it kind of comes on at, I think, the right time. It's not too late. To me, the right time is when it's not too late, when the oil is just hideously dirty, like you find on a lot of European cars. That they come on, you can smell the oil. It's a little old. It looks a bit old, but not hideous. And I think that's really the time you want to do it, so you're not causing any damage to the vehicle. And then, of course, they're pretty sophisticated on the Acura. There'll be like an A1 or an A2, and the letters mean different things. So, for instance, like this vehicle has a timing belt, and it is due to be replaced at a certain point, but actually a warning light will come on and it'll say when a service 4 comes on, that'll be the time you do the timing belt. So, I mean, normally the timing belt interval on these engines is usually, before they had this electronic alert, was usually around 168K. So I would expect it would come on around then, but it might come on sooner if you don't drive a lot. So it'll take those factors into play. Also, when you look at the maintenance schedule, if you do actually tow a lot with this vehicle, which most people don't do, the timing belt replacement interval is actually 100,000 kilometers. But again, that's a severe use that most people won't do. But it's important to look at those kind of details, because the last thing you want is to break a timing belt that makes for very expensive engine repair.
And how are Acura RDXs for reliability?
Yeah, a really good vehicle. It's a Honda product, very reliable. I can't say much bad about them. They need a few repairs here and there. I mean, the alternator is one thing we have repaired on a number of these cars. And also this thing, they did have a little clunk in the rear that I suspect might be the rear struts that are going, because that is an issue also. But overall, a very reliable vehicle, good value for sure.
So if you need service for your Acura in Vancouver, the guys to call are Pollock Automotive. You can reach them at 604-327-7112. You have to call and book ahead. They're busy. Or check out the website, pollockautomotive.com. Hundreds, 9 years worth of videos, hundreds, many hundreds, on all makes and models and types of repairs. Or check out the YouTube channel, same story there, Pollock Auto Repair. And of course, thank you for watching and listening to the podcast. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for watching.